Hey, what's up, everybody? You are now tuned into
And
and it's your girl Jazzy J and
Mike Dizzy.
And we in the building, y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming through and showing love. We really, really appreciate y'all. And speaking of showing love, man.
Yeah, we have a subscriber shout out. It is Equinox57.
Hey, Equinox57. We want to say we appreciate you. We see you on the channel dropping them gems, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for coming through and supporting, man. Equinox57. All right, y'all. We have a great, wonderful story, man, today. It is awesome. It's a little bit bittersweet, but it's amazing. This is the story of Bruce's Beach, y'all, if y'all have not heard about this. This was a beach that Tammy and Lenny Bruce had bought back in the 60s.
I apologize, family. I misspoke.
In Los
1912
Angeles,
is when
Prime
the beach was
Beach Real
purchased.
Estate. They bought it for $1,200. It was one of the only beaches where Black people could go, enjoy themselves, be on the beach, everything like that. Well, of course, you know that KKK in the 60s don't want none of that to happen. They definitely don't want none of that to happen. So they harassed everybody in the beach. They burned tires. They threw mattresses in the beach. They did all kind of stuff and ended up having somebody come through and seize their land, y'all. Didn't give them no money, no nothing. And these people had created a whole hotel, food, restaurants, and everything on their land and got their land seized, y'all. So the land had been seized for about 100 years. A beautiful lady named Kavon Ward, a one-woman show at the time, started this to get this beach returned to the descendants of Bruce's Beach, y'all. So she ended up fighting for it. Also, other of the descendants did the same thing as well, y'all. And guess what? They got Bruce's Beach returned back to them after 100 years. The deed was signed over to the family and all the descendants of Bruce's Beach, man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Man. And right now it's great that they got their beach back, which is wonderful. But at the same time, I mean, y'all owe them some kind of money, man. Y'all owe them something more than the beach. Think about the generational wealth that their family could have had from this land.
Yeah, that's what everybody talking about. The city need to do something.
Yeah, they got to do something
they need
else.
To sue the city or something like that. You know, the story is how many times has this happened to
all the time.
Black people?
Yep.
And now it's been so long.
Yep.
Some of us don't even have that knowledge, that older person who even knew about land that was owned by the family.
Exactly.
And that was taken from, like, my grandmother. She passed away, and she's pretty much my oldest descendant on the maternal side of everything. So if there was some land that was taken, she would be the only one that knew
about it.
And she's passed away, so don't nobody else know. So it's really hard to even go about trying to find out some of the history behind some of that beach. I think they got 3 acres of the property of that beachfront. And, you know, who lived to the left of them, who lived to the right of them.
Right.
Probably another Black family. And they probably don't even know that they own, you know, 5 miles down the road, part of the beach, or 5 miles up the road, part of the beach as well.
Exactly.
Because it's, some of that knowledge is just lost. So there's a big discrepancy there. That's a really hard part to imagine, that land right next to them may have been owned by Black people as well. And these families don't even know it. And if they do, probably don't have any idea on how to get it. And not just this beach, but, you know, all over.
Man, that's exactly right. I 100% agree with that. And definitely, a lot of white people, our white counterparts, get their money from land that they have inherited from people.
Mm-hmm.
And how many Black people would have had that generational wealth, and now we don't have that because stuff was stolen from us. See, because I've noticed that one of the things that the enemy likes to embed into Black people's heads is that we're lazy, that we haven't worked for anything, that we haven't strived for anything. But in truth, a lot of things that were created by so many Black generations was stolen from them by people that did not want to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
By people that were like, you know what, you got something that I want, and I'm going to come in and authoritate myself and just take what you got and not pay you no money, not do anything. So after they took their beach, these people ended up getting only $14,000 for a beach that is worth millions. It is now valued at $75 million. And I honestly think it's worth more than that. One home in the California area, this beach is in LA, is worth $2 million.
Yeah,
They got a
right.
whole beachfront property. This is probably worth in the hundreds of millions, if not close to $1 billion
Yeah.
property. They always lowball black people with what they think something's worth. So if they're telling them 75 million, this is probably $1 billion property.
Yeah, that's probably twice or 3 times that much, maybe 4 times that much.
Exactly. It's probably like 3 times as much. But I want to say big shout out to Kavon Ward. She was a warrior. She started this 10 years ago. They all started this 10 years ago. They didn't have no lawyers. They didn't have no help. They didn't have no nothing. But you know what they did have? They had the Most High. And when you have the Most High and you don't give up and you know something is supposed to be yours, God will always make it right every single time.
Yeah,
man.
That's some really hard work right there.
Isn't
man.
that 10 years?
With that much research and amount of effort to be put in, I hope she started class or something.
Man, you need
I'm sure they started from the beginning with nothing all the way to the end. They start up a class. I'll take that class
just to see,
just to find out. Hey, how did you do that?
Exactly.
How do I look up? If something was stolen from me.
Exactly.
In the 1912, 1920s.
Exactly.
Before everything was digitalized. How do I look that thing up? And how do I go about even trying to figure out if somebody in my family has something who it was taken from.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they said.
Or be able to help a friend of mine who knows that they had property taken.
Right. And that's exactly what they said. They're like, we hope other black people follow suit and do the same thing. I mean, where would our generation be? Where would your generation be right now if you had the actual generational wealth that your parents and grandparents built?
Man, we'll probably own more than half of the property in the United States.
Exactly.
If we knew what I was taking from. Didn't the farmers get all their land taken too?
All kind of stuff. And then like with my grandmother, she owned a house, 2 houses, and one of her houses is in prime $1 million to $2 million real estate by the University of Texas. And with gentrification, they raised her taxes so high where she couldn't afford it that she sold her house and made a profit, but it was pennies compared to what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth probably in the 2 millions just for the area that it sits in Austin. Mm-hmm. So it just goes to show what they do to our people to make sure that they don't. From the college, like it was in prime real estate. It's definitely $1 million to $2 million property just for the land where it's at. So yes, I'm definitely seeing that the Most High is working, y'all. Good things are happening. God is returning his stuff to his children. You can't get away with this type of stuff forever. So we love this story. We hope y'all stick around. Check out the video. It will tell you more about anything that we missed. And it was just an awesome story, babe. What do you think?
Story. If you know that your family has some property that was taken, this is a great person to follow.
Man,
what was her name? Miss Ward?
Kavon Ward. And I will have her pictures all throughout this page. So her name is Kavon Ward. Be sure to look up Miss Kavon Ward because you're going to see her on the video. And she's going to tell you she was her life was threatened. And she said the police didn't do nothing. They weren't trying to help her or anything. So yes, but look what you can do. One person with the Most High on their side, with justice and right on their side. Look what happens, man.
Yeah, for real, man.
Man. All right. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to Tea.
Yeah.
Tea. And we hope y'all enjoy this family to end the night off. Y'all have a great night.
Much love, family. When I was younger, I probably wasn't interested in finding out some of my family history. And now that I'm older, I'm really interested in finding out some of my family history. And it'll be really hard for me with so many people that has passed away. But some of us are in that same position, we just need to bridge that gap from, the younger to the older. Some of the grandmoms and grandfathers out there, tell, some of your grandchildren some of the good things and the bad things that happened to you when you were younger, when you were their age. Tell them what your family been through, and pull out some of them old pictures, some of them old photo albums. Call up that old relative and, have a conversation as, remember when we used to, do this type of thing or something like that. But like I said, when I was younger, 17, 18, 19, it really wasn't on my mind. Now, in my 30s, it is. And it's going to be a lot harder to try to find out some of those things. So just remember to make sure that we pass down some of that information. You're in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, something like that. Try to pass down some of that information. A lot of us pass down recipes for good food and things like that, but pass down some of that history too, because it's definitely needed. Eventually somebody will be interested in enough to sit down and talk about it and just be informed and go to that place that you were in the 60s or even the 50s, depending on how old you are. So yeah, let's just start bridging that gap, y'all. And for y'all that do have older relatives, hey, it may be some interesting things that you can find out about your family. So just check it out. Just check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, babe. Exactly right. And we have noticed that a lot of our subscribers are over the age of 55, which is amazing that we have
Man.
people that are elders that we look up to that will come to this channel and get information from us. We can't tell you how much we appreciate that. And we ask those people that drop knowledge and drop wisdom on this channel, and maybe even the ones who just watch and might not comment, that you do bridge that gap and speak to your grandkids and let them know about the things that were in the past and maybe some things that can help them in the future. So, babe, you're exactly right. So, thank y'all so much for tuning into Tea.
And
and we out, y'all. Peace.
much
In a
love, family.
fight for a family to get their land back stolen nearly 100 years ago. Governor Gavin Newsom made the trip to Southern California Thursday to sign the bill. It allows local leaders to return Bruce's Beach to descendants of the black people who owned it in the early 20th century. BNC correspondent Walter Morris was in Manhattan Beach for the historic event.
To sign this bill.
And with Governor Gavin Newsom's signature, SB 796 is officially law, allowing Los Angeles County to return Bruce's Beach back to the family.
We do what apparently Manhattan Beach is unwilling to do, and I want to apologize to the Bruce family for the injustice.
Back in 1912, Charles and Willa Bruce bought the land for $1,200, building a successful beach resort and creating one of the only places in Southern California where African Americans could enjoy the beach. But years later, and after attacks from the KKK, the land was taken by the city of Manhattan Beach under eminent domain.
Justice for Bruce's Beach!
Activist Kevon Ward began the call to return the land on Juneteenth 2020. But even nearly a century later, it was still an uphill battle.
2, the number of times my life and safety were threatened. That's right. 0, the number of times Manhattan Beach police protected me. My God. 0, the number of dollars we led this fight with, but you can't monetize or you can't quantify the power, the strength, determination, and passion of black women infatuated with justice.
In order for the county to return Bruce's Beach, the law had to change.
This property was stolen from the Bruces. We're returning what was stolen, what was rightfully theirs.
Now that the ink is dry, it's up to L.A. County to identify all living relatives of Charles and Willa Bruce and then negotiate the transfer.
The Bruces have found mercy in the unfailing love of Jesus Christ, and may his name be honored forever by my family.
And a rep for the family telling BNC they hope other African Americans will follow in their footsteps.
You have to get up, you have to speak out, and sometimes you have to raise hell in order to make sure that you get to the justice that you deserve.
Walter Morris for Start Your Day.